afternoon. We are here today for the Job Help Hotline. And the idea this afternoon is to give you a shot at some jobs that are greatly in demand in this economy and a way to get to those jobs. My name is Rick Goodell. I'm with Illinois Manufacturing Foundation. And right next to me here is a gentleman named Domingo Hernandez, who is a graduate of one of the Illinois Manufacturing Foundation programs. And we'll talk about those in a little bit. What we wanted to tell you is, first of all, if you are in search of a job, if you're in search of skills, particularly for two occupations, one to make you into a precision machinist or to make you into a computer support specialist, you may want to consider coming to Illinois Manufacturing Foundation for training and assistance with placement in technically skilled jobs. Now, everybody knows that in today's economy, without a technically skilled job, it's very hard to find a job with family supporting wages. And you probably already know that technical skills are the way to get to a job with family supporting wages. We offer two possibilities for you. One to get into the precision metalworking industry, the other one to get into the information technology industry. Both are hurting for skilled people, and our training programs will help you meet that skilled labor shortage. Now, we are located at 2101 South Kedzie. You can come and visit with us on any time, but we have orientations every Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m. for candidates who would like to seek admission for training. Again, Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, 2101 South Kedzie, 773-277-2343. You can call that number right now. There's an operator waiting to answer your calls, or you can call the Job Help Hotline and we'll answer your calls. That's the basic introduction. So we'd like to bring you up to date. Let me first introduce Mr. Hernandez here, who completed Illinois Manufacturing Foundation's Precision Machining Program roughly 5 years ago. I think that he's been continuously employed for those 5 years at one company. Mr. Hernandez, tell me what you do today at the company you work for and what is your specialty?
Because of the certification that I received from Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, I was employed through Friedman Seating in their engineering department, and I'm currently still working there in their engineering department. The capacities that I learned allowed me to fill this position. It was basically the mill, the lathe, sanders, things of this nature, grinders.
So you're spending time, most of your time, with manual machine tools making precision parts that are used elsewhere in the company. And you work with engineers, so the engineers have come to rely on you and to trust you to fabricate what they look for or what they specify.
Correct.
How many people are working in that kind of tool room area or model room area that you're working at?
We currently have 5 machinists total, 3 of them on first shift, 2 of them on second shift.
And all the work that you guys do has to somehow fit in the production plan for the company. That is, what you make has got to make the parts that the company is looking to produce for the outside world.
Yes, this is correct. Tolerances, make sure that all the dimensions meet the way they're supposed to.
So the idea is that for a precision machinist, there are lots of keys. One of the keys is the precision machinist has to be able to read a blueprint.
Correct.
This is a blueprint for a specific piece part. You can probably see it in detail, marked with lots of numbers, lots of configurations. That blueprint is what serves as the guide for the machinist to actually produce the piece parts that he produces. The machinist actually produces the parts using a variety of machine tools, and these are some of the parts that a machinist would often be required to produce. Some of them are one of a kind, some of them are production piece parts, but all of them are requirements for, somebody wants it for very close and very close tolerance work. So the machinist is the person who uses the machine tools and actually makes those piece parts. Now, Mr. Hernandez, tell me about what your experience was in training and then how close that training was to what you were required to do on the job.
It pretty much hit it right on the head. The foundation that the Illinois Manufacturing Foundation grants to you, it's exceptional. I mean, you learn the foundation of machining. As long as you understand that, then everywhere else that you go that's building up into technology, you're going to understand that as well, as long as you have the training for that as well.
So math, blueprint reading, precision measurement were things that you did not know before you came to training.
Correct.
And then you went on and worked with manual machine tools and learned how to use those tools to make piece parts. And I think you had a couple other steps, which were number 3 was learn how to make parts using an automatic lathe or an automatic screw machine. And then the 4th part was learning to use computer-controlled machine tools.
This is true.
So there was a 4-step process. What parts did you find the most challenging, the most interesting? What sorts of learnings stuck with you the most?
I could say that at first I thought it was going to be very challenging and I thought I was not going to be able to understand all of it. But as you immerse yourself into it, the assistance from the instructor at the Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, it's help. He walks you through it and he gets you to a point where you need to be.
So it was kind of, there was a demonstration of what to do, and then you were invited to do it yourself, and sometimes it went successfully, sometimes it didn't go so successfully.
Through trial and error.
But you learned eventually to do each of the operations that you needed to do, and you learned to control the machine tools. You learned to make the machine tools do what you wanted them to do.
Correct.
And that's what you're doing for a living.
It is.
Making parts and making those machines do what you want them to do. Now, is this a skill that's in demand? Is your company short of people that know how to do what you're able to do?
I believe it is in demand. I know that my actual department was trying to fill some vacant spot in that department for quite some time, and it took them quite some time to fill it.
Uh-huh. Well, generally, you should know. Hello, caller. We're not quite ready yet.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, may I answer your question? May we answer your question?
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
My first question is, the machinist, is that for men or can women apply?
Ah, let me tell you that women succeed sometimes a lot better than men, and there's a reason for that, because as you know, women pay more attention to detail than men do. So we had a young lady who just finished last October. She went to work for a company in October. She decided she wanted broader horizons. And, well, the company she started at in Chicago in October, she started out 3rd shift at $16 an hour. And by January, she had pretty much decided she wanted to work somewhere else where there was more room for her to grow. She applied to work at Caterpillar. And in January, she went for an interview at Caterpillar and brought with her the piece parts that she had made in class while she was a student at Illinois Manufacturing. The 2 interviewers at Caterpillar were so impressed with the piece parts that she brought in, they hired her on the spot for well over $20 an hour.
Oh, that's great. Now, is this the only class, the only training that you're providing is the machining?
No, the other training program we'll talk about in just a few minutes, but it's related to the information technology field, and it's training to prepare you to become a computer support specialist. Computer support specialist, if I can digress for a minute, the computer support specialist is the person who is the one called on whenever anybody's computer goes bad. Whether it goes bad through spyware, malware, viruses, trojans, hacker attacks, you name it, bad software, sometimes the hardware fails too. The computer support specialist is the person who is responsible for figuring out the problem and fixing it. So you have to have the patience, you have to have lots of patience. It's going to require lots of people interaction because you have to find out from the customer what were they doing when the computer went bad. And then you have to diagnose and figure out what's likely to be the culprit that caused the problem, and then try to solve it, whether it's hardware, software, malware, spyware, you name it, Trojans, hackers, you name it.
Where can I sign up?
Where do you sign up?
Yes.
Oh, at Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, 2101 South Kedzie. We have an orientation every Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m. You can call into that number, to this number now, and there's an operator waiting to take your name and number and address and all of that stuff and sign you up for the orientation. It's
Okay,
at no
good.
cost. Whoops, I'm sorry. I didn't do terribly well there. Every Tuesday morning, 9:30, several people come in every Tuesday morning and start the process of getting admitted to the class and figuring out a career rather than just a job. Now, that's not yet, I didn't get to your second question yet.
No, you answered it. I just wanted to know if women could take the machining, and where do I sign up at?
Okay, so you've got the address, you've got the phone number, and you're certainly welcome to present yourself or anybody else that you know that's looking for real skills for real jobs.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome. Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was an interesting call. Somebody who was interested in actually changing their life for a skilled career. Well, I should switch gears a little bit. Again, there are two people here making a presentation. One, me, is Rick Goodell, Illinois Manufacturing, and to the right of me on the screen, or to the left of you on the monitor, is Domingo Hernandez, who completed training with Illinois Manufacturing Foundation. Good grief, it seems like 1,000 years ago, but it was only 5 years ago. Domingo was not in a good place when he came to us, I think.
True story.
He was kind of, he was hurting a little bit. He needed to get a skill. He had been in an occupation that was kind of risky, and he didn't want to continue in a risky occupation. And so he came and initially thought, oh my God, how am I going to learn to deal with all these machines and all these parts?
I was overwhelmed at that time.
Uh-oh, overwhelmed.
It was a lot to take in at first.
He said he was overwhelmed. I don't know if that's believable. It's hard to, I mean, you know, after a while you have to get the understanding and the approach that machines are basically pretty stupid, and our machines are no exception to that. And so, Domingo, you were overwhelmed by what?
But with everything that needed to happen in order to create a piece that was acceptable. That was to print.
Okay. Well, that's an unusual reaction. Some people may, yeah, there are lots of machines in the shop, and looking at them, you'd say, damn, how am I going to get through all of these things? But little by little,
Exactly.
you take it step by step. We take you through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then all of a sudden, you're able to do things that you were not able to do before. And the things that you're able to do can put you in place for a family supporting wage in a real skilled job, technically skilled job. Okay, we should now switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about the Computer Support Specialist Program. Again, we're from Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, 2101 South Kedzie. If you're interested, give us a call. There's an operator waiting for you to take your call, and if you're interested in training, please do give us a call and come in. We have an orientation every Tuesday morning. And the orientations may take about 2-3 hours. We want you to meet instructors, understand step by step what you're going to go through in the training program, and figure out if that is your cup of tea and if you're suited for that. So Domingo came in and he said he was overwhelmed, but somehow he stepped forward and said, I'm going to plunge into this. So what happened when you plunged in?
It was worth it. It was worth my time. Initially, the overwhelming was just a thought. it was just, wow, am I ever going to be able to understand all of this? And
Uh-huh.
as I had the hands-on experience there at your location, it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that our stuff, the training at Illinois Manufacturing Foundation is very intensive hands-on. You're going to have to do the work.
Exactly.
And when you're finished with doing the work, that is, when you're finished with training, you will have samples of your work to take with you to a prospective employer. That's what impressed the Caterpillar HR people when the young lady went there in January. She brought the piece parts that she made in class, and they said nobody else had ever brought them the work that they had done while in training.
Interesting.
So that was kind of a success story. But there was another candidate that finished at roughly the same time. Actually, he didn't quite finish. But an employer came in and was hungry for people, and he was hungry for work, has children to support. So before completing training, he actually took the job that was offered to him. And he's now been there 6, 7, maybe 8 months. His employer reports that he's a great employee, that he knows more than many of the other people on the plant floor, and that he makes more than his regular salary and overtime. He's got as much overtime as he wants. So he said he almost doubled his salary by putting in 2 or 3 hours a day overtime,
Wow.
plus the 8-hour shift. He makes twice the amount of regular salary. So he's happy. He's working actually 5 and 6 days a week. He does take Sundays off. But he was in a bad situation before he came into training. He was really struggling in training with income, children, and a wife to support. And so he has changed that situation now dramatically and turned it all around. So let's talk a little bit about the other training program that we do, which is the Computer Support Specialist. Computer Support Specialist is a 6-month program. It happens on weekends. I should mention the machining program takes place Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 5 days a week. It's intensive. And the Computer Support Specialist takes place Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that one allows you to get a job during the week, get your computer skills during the weekend, and aim for, which is the result we want, for you to take and pass the CompTIA A+ certification exam. Now, there's something interesting about that set of exams. That's the ground level, the base level certification for any job in the information technology industry. So it qualifies you to go in whichever direction you want. After you get the A+ certification, you can decide where you want to specialize. One direction, another direction. You want to go for VMware, you want to go for network, you want to go for security, you want to go for Microsoft, you want to go for Cisco. All those different directions become possible with your A+ certification. So where have our graduates gone to work? A number of graduates have gone to work at the Healthcare Consortium of Illinois. Another graduate went to work at Rush Press St. Luke's Hospital in the IT division. Another graduate went to work for himself and actually doing computer repairs. Graduates have scattered all across the landscape in terms of having their certifications, obtaining jobs, and generally those jobs have gone at the lowest rate, it's been $15 an hour. So for the machining program, you're looking at salaries anywhere from $14 to $18 an hour to start. For the information technology, you're looking at roughly $15 to $18 an hour to start. And there are plenty of jobs for both. The Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership estimates that for the next 5-7 years, the number of job openings in Cook County will be more than 400 per year for machining and more than 1,500 per year for computer support. So get with it. Hello, caller. How can I help? How can we help you?
Hello?
Hello, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was calling to ask about the certification for the computer support program.
Okay.
Just sort of like, I'm not too familiar with it, so I just wanted some details on like how, how this like cost or like how long.
Yeah, there is a tuition. Generally, we are a private, not-for-profit school, so nobody leaves our training programs with debt. but you do have to qualify for the tuition through a variety of sources. The most common source is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, which is a federal workforce development program. If you are of low income and or on unemployment compensation or receiving linked benefits, there's no question that you would qualify. It's based on household size and household income for the WIOA program. The other two tuition payers are the Veterans GI Bill and the Trade Adjustment Act. So it's likely that you'd fit into one of those three categories. The most commonly available is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act. And that you gain access through a workforce center in Cook County, or actually a workforce center anywhere in the country. Whereabouts are you located? I can tell you where a workforce center is near you.
I'm in Bridgeport.
In Bridgeport, okay. The closest workforce center to you is probably the Pilsen Workforce Center at 1700 West 18th Street. So it's near Ashland and 18th.
Okay, Ashland and 18th, you said?
And then there's another one run by the Chinese American Service League on the 2100 block of Tan Avenue. It's right on the outskirts of Chinatown.
Oh, okay. Okay. And is there like what as far as schedule, like what does it run through? Is the schedule like flexible for that, or?
Well, the schedule for the computer support specialist class is 9 to 5 on Saturdays and Sundays. There's obviously flexibility. Life intervenes, so we understand that there's some days that you might not be able to stay the full class or come in quite at the time the bell rings, but we make adjustments for that as long as you're able to consistently. We do value good attendance because we cannot give you a good recommendation to an employer if you're not consistently in class. Obviously, employers want somebody who's there, 98, 99% of the time. If you're only there in class 70% of the time, that's not going to win any fans from employer community.
Sure, sure.
So your best bet is come in for orientation. Give us a call either at the number on the screen or at 773-277-2343 and figure out how when you can come in for the orientation. Every Tuesday morning at 9:30.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for the information.
Okay. Any other questions you have?
No, it was just mainly those two.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right, back to the computer support specialist. I should mention it's one of two training and placement programs offered at Illinois Manufacturing Foundation. Mr. Hernandez here to my right has been through one of the training programs and has met people from the other training program as well and met his fellow students. As far as you know, Mr. Hernandez, have people who completed training succeeded in obtaining jobs and jobs at pretty decent pay?
The IMF has a very high percentage placement rate. So they're with you. If you go through this program and they're gonna assist you with everything, through the funding, through everything, through the transportation, through the whole aspect of it. And I guarantee you that once you do reach the completion of the course, it's like 92-point-something% placement rate that the Illinois Manufacturing has.
Well, let's put it this way. There's a very simple. If you bring the attendance and the attitude, we'll give you the ability.
Absolutely.
Life is a three-legged stool, right? Attendance, attitude, and ability are the three legs. If you bring two of them, we'll give you the third one that'll allow you to succeed. So, if you're interested, come on in. Every Tuesday morning, we do an orientation, 2101 South Kedzie. You can call 773-277-2343. Learn how to work with fairly sophisticated pieces of technology. That means learning to work with, what are these things? Oh, these are video cards, and they're different video cards for different purposes. One of them connects to HDMI, one of them connects to VGA, one has a heat sink, one has a fan. You have to learn about all these things. So, folks, welcome to Illinois Manufacturing Foundation. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Call or come in, and we'll be delighted to show you the parts of the world that you'll be able to access through our training programs. And Mr. Hernandez, thank you very much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.